The president's faith has been on full display in recent weeks. On Sunday, the 19th, for only the fourth time since his inauguration, President Barack Obama attended church. He and the First Family made the short walk out of the White House and through Lafayette Park to St. John's Episcopal Church in Washington. And yesterday, at an administration stage backyard discussion, a very poignant question was posed to the president. He was asked why he is a Christian. Take a look at the response.
I'm a Christian by choice. My family didn't, frankly, they weren't folks who went to church every week. My mother was one of the most spiritual people I knew, but she didn't raise me in the church. So I came to my Christian faith later in life.
Now, that answer was debated by liberals on one radical left-wing cable network. Take a look.
I mean, did he really have to throw his family under the bus to make this point? I mean, his family didn't go to church, but he went to church. To me, this is the worst thing he's done since comparing his grandmother to Reverend Wright to make a point about how everybody's racial. Now, I mean, this disturbs me. How far do we go in politics to get a few extra votes?
Now, there you heard Politico's Roger Simon compare the president's response to a comment that he made back in 2008 about his grandmother. Remember this.
I can no more disown him than I can disown my white grandmother, a woman who helped raise me, a woman who sacrificed again and again for me, a woman who loves me as much as she loves anything in this world, but a woman who once confessed her fear of black men who passed her by on the street, and who on more than one occasion has uttered racial or ethnic stereotypes that made me cringe.
Now, here to weigh in on the controversy is the #1 best-selling author of Culture of Corruption. Michelle Malkin is back with us. Michelle, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Sean.
All right, weigh in on this controversy.
Well, talk about cringing. I think I'm just going to stand out of the way and let the likes of liberal journalists like Roger Simon do the work that we've been doing in pointing out Barack Obama's cynical use of his family. I completely agree with him in his reaction to Barack Obama's Albuquerque answer on this question of why he's a Christian, and then using his own family, his mother in particular, as some sort of negative counterpoint. They didn't go to church, but he made this choice, and he was much more mature in his adult life and the choices that he made about religion. And I think that what Roger Simon was picking up on, Sean, was this habit, this reflex that Obama and the White House have had of reaching into his family history, and in some cases the family morgue, and resurrecting these figures from the past as foils for Barack Obama. And we've seen it in other ways, too. When he's not throwing them under the bus, he's using them as political props. He'll lecture conservatives to leave his family and his daughters alone, but then drag them into the public picture to argue for everything from Obamacare to the Child Nutrition Act to shoring up his bad PR over the BP spill.
I can't get over it. I know liberals get mad every time I bring it up. I don't buy his answer. I had no idea, about Reverend Jeremiah Wright. His comments were made public. We were accused of taking them out of context. He reiterates them when he went to the National Press Club. He had said he was fortified by tapes as he drove around the country. He was fortified listening to tapes of Jeremiah Wright. Audacity of Hope. Well, he was inspired by Jeremiah Wright. I can no longer disown him than I can the black community. And then when push came to shove, Jeremiah Wright got thrown right under that same bus.
Yes, that's right. The wheels on the bus go thump, thump, thump in the Obama White House. And I think what's interesting is that even the left has now grown tired of the Obama strategy of openly talking about his faith. They're the ones accusing him of cynically trying to close the so-called God gap on the campaign trail now, as he did in 2008. And I think that this strategy is going to backfire for the very reasons that you're talking about, Sean. And that is, of course, you were clever on this before most anybody else was in the mainstream media in talking about not only Obama's ties to Jeremiah Wright and the Trinity United Church, but in particular the way that in his adult life he was influenced by radical black liberation theology. And it was on your show, Sean, of course, that Jeremiah Wright lectured you and every other American that they couldn't understand Barack Obama's brand of religion unless they understood who James Cone was.
Now the question, though, is why? And is it a fair and open question? I understand for safety and security reasons a president has more difficulty going out in public at any time. I think that's a fair concern for any president. The question is, a lot of issues have been raised about his faith, you know, because black liberation theology is so radical. And he spoke out as so inspired by it and by Cone, and we know its Marxist roots, et cetera, et cetera. Why now? Is it issues involving people have been questioning his faith, polls that show that many Americans think he's a Muslim? What do you think it is? Why now is he going to church?
Well, look, I think like most other Americans, and every poll shows that they're losing political faith in Barack Obama, evangelical Christians, which of course he made a big deal out of siphoning away from the Republican Party, have lost faith in him as well. And whether it's these Pew polls that show that people doubt what exactly his religion is, or just in general, the cratering of public support and confidence in Barack Obama, they're desperately trying to shore up that support any way they can. And when they're not badgering and lecturing their own base, of course, they're pulling stunts like this.
All right, and appreciate you being with us. Thank you, Michelle Malkin.